actually quite a lot. I mean, it's what's being pushed, Homeland Security. I mean, when you got FEMA and your fusion centers telling you this stuff, and it's, intel and law enforcement sensitive only, they kind of feel like they're in a club, it's like a secret group. And
exactly. It's like it's like 7-year-olds being invited up by the 10-year-olds into the clubhouse just so they can have you, do stupid stuff. That's all this is. And none of it's real intel. It's all this regurgitated Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL. ADL is basically Mossad propaganda that is fed to the police. It is so pathetic.
And it just keeps all the populace just living their normalcy bias and Stockholm syndrome, just happy to have the government caring for them. But just one more thing, Alex, and I'll get off. I know you're a busy man. I know you said that you need somebody in Virginia as a reporter. I'm right outside of D.C., and I know you probably get everybody telling you this, but it would be an honor and a privilege to work for you. I've got a paralegal certification. I'd quit my job in a heartbeat to work for you. It'd be a great honor. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, send your info in. Here's my problem. A, it's getting money to hire people. B, it's then managing them. I've got a great crew. The problem is I have to tell people and train them, and it's all a time issue. I almost don't want to do my show for like a month and just try to get everything set up the way I want it set up around here, because it's the frustration of always having to do 10 things. But we are in the arena, so that's what it's all about. But God bless you. I appreciate your call. Send us your information. We're trying to hire a bunch of reporters / video editors in-house. And then we do want to get next phase correspondents out there. I mean, I would just suggest you start doing your own YouTube channel, sir. Start doing your own reports. And then that's how you'd end up getting hired somewhere. Let's go ahead and talk to Michael in Oklahoma. Michael, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Michael, hey, Alex, thanks for taking my call. I got something so important to tell you about Prozac, James Holmes, and mind control. And this may go back all the way to the MK Ultra experiments. I have 4 friends the other day who experimented with LSD, and they all, after about the 6-hour mark, started coming down off it, except one girl. She kept getting higher and higher and higher. And the one difference between her and all the other people is she has a prescription for Prozac, and she takes Prozac on a regular basis. And she got so high, she lost her mind, and she started attacking people. She started trying to bite our friends. She tore the house apart. I mean, she got so crazy violent.
Yeah, no. I mean, sir, that's what they did in mind control, is they do electroshock to totally confuse you. Then they give you LSD, PCP, and other drugs at the same time, horse tranquilizers, so that all that's operating is your lower animal centers of your brain. And, of course, everybody you see doing these zombie attacks is on 4 or 5 drugs mixed together. And, yes, sir, the Mumbai attacks, the CIA in India, this even came out in the news. At the time, I said they were clearly from the video on drugs, totally wild-eyed. They were on injectable LSD and PCP and, quote, other drugs that were synthetic, and the Indians couldn't figure out what they were. They said they were some new designer drug. They landed those guys. They'd probably been drugged up for 6 months in hospital beds, with video games pumping in shooter scenarios. That's one way they do mind control. And then they just turn them loose. The boats land, you release them, and it's party time. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and you won't believe this. And she got so crazy that, she was biting and going. He was so afraid that his lady was going to, hurt herself. He called 911. And anybody tripping on LSD does not want to call the police. Well, of course, they show up. They arrest everybody. And, she has to stay the night in the hospital. And it wasn't until the next day before she finally came down. She had no recollection whatsoever of that happening at all.
Sir, if you take Xanax with alcohol, it can do that. The guy a few months ago that shot a cop for no reason in Walmart, his roommate said he would take, huge dosages of Xanax and drink. I've talked to friends who've, been in a car wreck, so they give them some Xanax for depression, and they drink 2 beers and don't know who they are and wake up 8 hours later in another town drooling in a parking lot. I mean, look, they've got all these wild drugs that are giving us. You're going to see this happen. But imagine what government can do with those drugs and mind control. You add electroshock to it, and then they put these audio sensors on them and just pump audio and visual in. You show somebody over 6 months, over 20 or 30 week-long drug trips. You put somebody on that stuff that long, you can totally erase who they are. And then put a gun in their hand, the rest is history.
saying, that just so reminded me, as soon as I was listening to your weekly, nightly news show just the other night, and when you were talking about Prozac, and James Holmes was prescribed Prozac, and now he has no memory of the accident whatsoever, that just so totally reminded me of that, because all of them had a great time and was totally fine, but she was the only one that kept getting higher and higher, and then she went crazy.
Well, yeah, she had a chemical imbalance. Yeah, look, here's the deal. LSD gives you a chemical imbalance, but you add things in there, like a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, her brain just kept absorbing and absorbing and absorbing the LSD until she probably, took the equivalent of 20 tabs of it or more. And that's when people jump off buildings. That's when people eat their baby. Prozac is a hallucinogen. Read the insert. My friends, if you would like to support the broadcast, you can always spread the word about the show, whether you're listening on a local AM and FM station or XM 166, or you can always listen to the free podcast after the show, where and when you want, or get the free iPhone or Droid apps that are all linked on the listen page of Infowars.com. You can also listen to the live audio streams that are there, or watch the video streams that are at Prisonplanet.tv. And don't forget, we produce 7 days a week videos that are posted at Prisonplanet.tv, 5 days a week the nightly news, 6 days a week the radio show, all at Prisonplanet.tv. 15-day free trial at Prisonplanet.tv, and your membership there makes this broadcast and what we're doing here every day possible. We're in a lot of trouble. The globalists are willing to do anything. They are so brazen, even though they've been caught over and over again. I mean, they got caught doing Fast and Furious because it was so big and had so many people involved, but still the media's only covered a few areas of it. It wasn't just shipping guns, folks. It was a lot more than that. Drugs back into the U.S., weapons to drug gangs around the U.S. The people at the top of law enforcement in this country are narcotics traffickers. Big Pharma that runs this country to a great extent, they were all the companies that brought in opium and cocaine before they developed synthetic drugs. They made drugs illegal in the last 90 years because they were losing their monopoly of bringing it in legally. So they just made it illegal so that they could bring it in and make even more money in the black market. That's what's really going on here. This is a criminal takeover. That's what the New World Order is. And make no mistake, I'm not proud of this. I'm not saying, oh, you should praise me for it. I'm risking my life, though, to bring you this information. Because I understand there's no future if we don't beat these people. Let's go to Steve in Florida, then Mike, Ron, and others. Steve, you're on the air.
Yeah, hey, Alex. A few weeks ago, you were interviewing David Icke, and as you were interviewing him, I was just doing some brainstorming and thinking about the globalists and how they operate. And the average American is basically clueless that these people are masters of deception and manipulation. They study humanity so they can get them to do what they want without them even knowing it, and go along with what they want until it's too late, and then they spring the trap on them. And so I just had some thoughts I wanted to share, some insight into their psyche. These people believe they are superior to everyone in several ways. First of all, intellectually, they engage in psychological manipulation through the corporate media, false information.
They are disgusted having to look at their fellow humans and want us dead, and in all their writings, that's what they say, yes.
Yeah. Fake images and deceptive messages. They believe they're superior emotionally. They engage in emotional agitation through fear tactics, intimidation, playing on people's passions, lust, and sentiment. And physically, they believe they're superior. They engage in psychological or physiological deterioration through the toxins they put in the food, water, air, etc. And they add to the stress of an already high-pressured society. They believe they are superior economically, so they engage in financial degradation through theft, currency devaluation, credit, inflation, and taxation. Politically, they engage in tyrannical subjugation through unwarranted military force, unnecessary police brutality, unjust imprisonment, unconstitutional laws and proceedings, and unsuitable corrupt leadership. And then finally, they believe they are superior spiritually, so they engage in ecclesiastical domination through their false doctrine and teachings, their occult practices, their counterfeit churches.
Listen, I agree with you, but I got to go. Great points. You should shoot a YouTube video with that. Into hour number 2, we have a guest joining us who's never been on the broadcast, but I've been familiar with his work in film for about 16, 17 years. Right around the time I got on air, I became aware of the John Birch Society's videos. He's a writer. He also writes for LouRockwell.com. William Gregg's going to be joining us to talk about drones, the shooting, and a host of other issues in the next segment. We'll continue with your calls as well into the third hour, and a ton of geopolitical news, Middle East news, economy news, nanny state news I haven't gotten to yet. Let's go to Mike in Oregon. Mike, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex. It's great to talk to a fellow patriot.
Good to talk to you, brother.
I've been listening to you for a while, and you've been saying that you've been putting your life on the line, and I believe it. And I wanted to take the step and do the same. And I come to you today with an idea that I think will bind all of us info warriors together and launch a cataclysmic attack on the globalist agenda. And to do that, I think that if we were to take some of the money from the info bomb this year, the money bomb this year, and put that towards producing some advertisements, either in video or audio or both, on your respective stations that you broadcast on, and target the sheeple, if you will, to notify them and inform them of what's really going on. And I think, honestly, that if you were to do this, we would all be happy to give you the money to do this, to make it happen. I know I'm broke as it comes, but...
yeah, well, I don't... Listen, here's the deal. We reach tens of millions of people, but money-wise, I did the national ad for Stansberry Research dealing with QE3 about what's going to happen when that does finally come out. And I don't want to get into their budget, but it was a lot more than one of our money bombs would raise. I mean, a lot more every month. And you saw it on Fox, CNN, you name it. They didn't want my voice on Fox and CNN, and Stansberry had to play gutsball for about a month and not run the ads until they caved in. The establishment is that scared of me. So we've had national radio when Ted Anderson wanted me to endorse his gold company and run it on national ads. National syndicators refused to run my voice. The system is absolutely scared to death. You know, not even saying my name, my voice, they don't want out there for whatever reasons. I mean, quite frankly, it strikes fear into the globalist when I'm calm and not gibbering like a wild monkey like I usually do for whatever reason. And I think it's because I'm not afraid. You know, when I get up here and I say I'm risking my life, these really are killers. But I'm so public, they don't want to kill me probably because it would just highlight everything I've said and done. It doesn't mean I might not make one of them angry and they'll have me killed. But, I mean, I'm willing to have that happen because these people have got to be defeated. I'm trying to build my organization up to a point where I can just do an hour-long news show and have it on time every night to deploy that. But God bless you, and I appreciate your call and your support, sir. Again, a lot of great ideas come from listeners. I need to be financially strong enough just to keep the employees I've got, and I've got to have some acorns buried in case we were attacked or, you know, had long droughts of no funds. As we go into this depression, I've expended much of our backup capital just to get to the point I'm at right now. So I feel the great urgency and responsibility to deploy different programs against the globalists. You know, we're going to have a franchise for InfoWars newspaper that's going to come out monthly, and that's the best thing in the free market is to have people that are already printers or already have newspapers